Hi. So let's talk about 3 nutrition tips that I can provide you that will help you with reaching PR performance in your endurance events. So, in case we haven't met, I'm Alex Larson. I am a registered dietitian, a nutrition coach. I work with endurance athletes on a regular basis, helping them fuel to improve their performance and body composition through a flexible eating style. And I'm also a mom. I have 2 little boys, one of which is here with me today watching Mickey. So hopefully I don't get interrupted. Now, when it comes to fueling for performance, my first tip, and this is a big one, and it's all about how you eat in your everyday nutrition. So we can eat really great leading up to a race, have the most beautifully nutritionally perfect meal the night before an event, but it's really the everyday nutrition that you're doing in the months leading up to the race to help enhance your training that is going to make the biggest difference in helping you PR for your event. It truly is going to help you not only continue to progress and have gains in your pace and your endurance throughout your training, but also is going to help you with preventing injury and keeping you overall healthy, preventing sickness, which obviously can then impact the progress that we can make in our training. So when it comes to that everyday nutrition, it makes a huge difference. So how can you work on that everyday nutrition? First and foremost, you want to avoid skipping meals. You want to have a very consistent eating schedule throughout the day, eating every 3 to 4 hours, continuing to supply your body with the nutrition that it needs to A, fuel your workouts, and B, recover from your workouts, because the recovery is just as important as the training itself. So thinking of your meals, so whether you're a 3 meals a day kind of person with some snacks in between, or if you're a 5 or 6 mini meals throughout the day, neither is better than the other. It all just depends on what fits in best with your schedule. So for example, if you do a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then some snacks in between, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that your meals are going to be balanced. A formula that I like to use is complex carbs plus lean protein plus a fruit and or vegetable. If you can have those 3 or 4 things included in your meal, it's going to be a very satisfying meal. It's going to be diverse enough that's going to provide you a really good amount of nutrition for fueling your body as an athlete. Another thing that you can do is making sure that you have your snacks timed out to align with when you typically get hungry. If you tend to have lunch at 12:30, but you don't have dinner until 6 o'clock, that's a really long time to go without eating. So you have to have a snack sometime in the afternoon to hold you over until you get to dinner. Because let's face it, if you skip that snack and you get to 6 o'clock and you haven't eaten in 6 hours, you're going to be starving. I call it eat your arm status. You're so hungry. And what do we typically do when we're that hungry? Our body's going to open up the pantry door. It's going to look for candy. It's going to look for just straight up bread, tortillas, graham crackers, and you'll just go for the quickest, most efficient way for your body to be satisfied and getting something to eat. So when you crave sugar before dinner, that's because your body is underfueled. It's going to naturally have you crave those things because it needs that energy. So if that's the case, we need to nip that in the bud by having a snack mid-afternoon. So a good snack to have is something with some carb and some protein. You don't want to have just protein. You don't want to have just carb. If you have just carb, you're going to be hungry within an hour or so. If you have just protein, you're not really satisfying. Your body's need to replenish those glycogen stores, those carb stores that we store in our muscle, that energy. So you're going to be hungry, or not quite satisfied after that snack either. But if you have both, there is something magical about having both carb and protein at a snack. It just helps you feel much more satisfied. Your body's going to feel okay, and you're going to go into that next meal being reasonably hungry, not famished, and ready to again eat everything in your kitchen before we even sit down for dinner. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is going to be fueling well around your workouts. So whether or not you're a morning workout person, an afternoon, a midday, you want to make sure that you have some sort of routine in place for fueling those workouts. So having a pre-workout snack, half an hour to an hour or more before. If you are an afternoon, if you work out in the afternoons, make sure you have a meal 3 to 4 hours beforehand, to help, again, supply that energy to have a really good workout so you feel really well energized. If you are working out for longer than 90 minutes, have some sort of fueling during your workout protocol to help make sure that you're not completely depleting those glycogen stores. You want to make sure that you are sparing them a little bit so that you can prevent fatigue, delay fatigue during that workout. You want to make sure start to finish you are going, at full strength, full pace in what your goal is for that workout. And then post-workout, like I said, recovery is just as important as the training itself. So as soon as you finish your workout, start planning out what are you going to do to refuel and to rehydrate. So you've got about a 45-minute window that's ideal for you to start taking in some carbs and protein. Hydration, I would say as soon as possible to start rehydrating. But in terms of taking in energy, carbs and protein, you got about 45 minutes to 60-minute window to really take the full advantage of your body taking that energy, taking that protein, and putting it to work. Not to say that it won't pass that 45-60-minute mark, but it's just not as efficient. And if you are someone that's training day in and day out, sometimes doing 2-a-days, getting that nutrition in as soon as possible is really going to help you recover as quickly as possible so that next workout is even better than the day before. So that is something key to think about as well. And then my third and final tip is going to be trialing your nutrition months in advance of your race. Okay, I cannot stress this enough when it comes to practicing what fuel source you're going to use. What rate are you going to consume? Do you have a goal rate of carbs per hour that you want to consume during the race itself? Do you need to work your way up to that rate? How often are you going to take in fuel and nutrition? How often are you going to take in fluids? How much are you going to take at a time? All of those things you need to help prepare your body to be ready for that on race day. And that takes a lot longer than what you might think. So when it comes to training, you're not just training your body physically to be able to complete the race, but you're also training your gut, your stomach, your intestines to be able to take in that nutrition and that hydration while you're exercising. So when you get to race day, there's no throwing your body for a loop. It is well prepared and you can feel really confident going into the race. You're not going to have any upset stomach, GI issues. You know how you're going to take in your fluids, you know how you're going to take in any energy sources, and you're going to feel really good about that. And if you can, simulate race situations. So if you are going into a race that's notoriously known for being hot and humid, try out plenty of different electrolyte options. Get into knowing how much your body is going to need in terms of hydrating by maybe doing a sweat test to know how much fluids you lose in an hour and how much you need to be taking in. How much electrolytes. There's different sweat test kits that can help measure how much sodium that you're losing in your sweat. Therefore, you know how much to take in during the race. So all those different factors, if you do your homework, you can go into the race so much more confident. And when you go into a race confident, you're going to be mentally much more prepared to hit those PR goals. So hopefully this was helpful. If you feel like you are someone that really needs helping with the implementation and the personalization of this type of nutrition info into your training in your life, please feel free to reach out. My nutrition coaching program is specifically made for this to help you find success with your nutrition. So my little guy has finished his snack, so I need to head out. Hopefully this is helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email or on my social channels. I would love to hear from you.